most base of instincts, which is to feel good. 7 minutes now gone past the hour of 10. We're about to feel a range of emotions. We are about to clench our fist. Some of us are about to be holding our breaths. Some of us will sweat. Some of us will cough. Some of us will shift uncomfortably in our seats. Some of you have turned up the volume just a little bit more so that you can hear very clearly. Yes, the time is upon us. It's not an easy time, but it is one that we'll face, as we do every day, with maximum effort. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to differ, Season 5, the semifinals. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here doing this. And today we have two, yet again, before us. Two interesting schools, but their representatives sat in the studio. Venocrest schools, represented by Clifford, MaryJane, Oluwatoyosi, and Sarimiye, Diane, Tamarapreye, going up against Silverbird International School, represented by Jumbo, Emmanuella, and Ugwoegbu, Sonia, Chisom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first semi-final for today. We have a second, and these results will determine who will be playing, who will be arguing for the final next week. But for now, let us get the business on the road, because we are working with milliseconds, literally. Everything is finely poised this morning. The topic for this morning's debate: vaccine refusal should attract punishment. Vaccine refusal should attract punishment. That's the topic. Vaccine refusal should attract punishment. Now, Venocrest is arguing for the motion, whilst Silverbird is arguing against the motion. Now, at this point, we determine right after the last round who is going to support, who is going to be against the motion, to give the students ample time to prepare their maximum points for this particular round. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get to say hello to the participants this morning. Representing Venocrest this morning, Miss Oluwatoyosi. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome once again. And representing Silverbird, Miss Emmanuella. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Right, so I need to confirm that you both, your teams, are aware of the stand you are taking in this particular argument. Is this affirmative, please?
Yes, sir.
So you both know that you, Venocrest, you are supporting, and you, Silverbird International, you are opposing, right? Yes, okay, the rules still remain. The supporters of the motion will start with their opening statements and their opening remarks. Then we'll pass the microphone over to the opponents, who will give their opening salvo. Rebuttals are important. Rebuttals are the points that you give to counter the points that your opponent has made. The rebuttal segment is going to start off with Silverbird International, and then, as always, followed by the supporters of the motion. The closing arguments will begin with the supporters of the motion, and after that, the opponents will give their closing arguments. As always, there's going to be 3 minutes on the clock. Now, during the 3 minutes, you can take a pause, a breather, no penalty for that. However, the clock would not be stopped. When the time has elapsed and you are still speaking, you will hear this notification. This is a sound to let you know that the time has elapsed and you cannot make further points. The point you are making at that time will be allowed to stand. However, you would not be allowed to make further points. Ladies, is this clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Once again, is this clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the first semi-finals of the day is here. And we begin with Venocrest schools. Ms. Oluwatoyosi, all the best. The clock has been set to zeros once again. 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
This debate is about human rights versus government social responsibility backed by laws. I shall be presenting enumerated points backed by statistical and epidemiological data beyond mere claims and limited understanding. So why do we contend that vaccine rejection should attract punishment? My points are: 1. Public health laws and legal basis. The main law governing infectious disease control in Nigeria is the Quarantine Act. Under this act, the government has the right to make regulations to prevent the infectious spread of diseases. During an outbreak, the government has the right to conduct mandatory vaccinations, quarantines, isolations, and movement restrictions. Refusal to comply with these public health orders should attract penalties, fines, or even imprisonment. 2. Public safety. Infectious diseases can transfer from person to person. Refusal to collect vaccinations can endanger the lives of others. The Nigerian legal system, primarily based on the Criminal Code Act (CCA) for Southern states and the Penal Code (PC) for Northern states, criminalizes conduct that endangers the society. 3. Urgency of the situation. According to the WHO, global measles cases, for example, rose by 79% in 2022 compared to 2021, largely due to declining immunization coverage. According to the to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they reported that measles infects 90% of unvaccinated people when exposed to it, making an individual refusal a public health risk. 4. Social responsibility. Should a reasonable government stand and fold its hands and allow preventable deaths to occur, or punish those who deplete the population by wrong choices born by ignorance, religious brainwashing, and sheer neglect? The answer is no. 5. Healthcare system strain. During the peak waves of COVID-19, unvaccinated people comprised a disproportionate share of ICU admissions in several United States, which rose from 60% to 75% in 2021. This is unacceptable. 6. Protection of the right to life. According to the Section 33 of the Nigerian Constitution, it guarantees right to life, so the government has a duty to protect citizens from preventable diseases. If vaccine rejection can threaten public health and safety, then the states should legally take mandatory actions to safeguard lives. 7. Restrict vaccination campaigns by the WHO. Smallpox was eradicated in the 1980s, which saved millions of lives. 8. Limitation to the individual right to refusal. Under Section 45 of the Nigerian Constitution, individual rights like freedom of movement and privacy can legally be restricted in the interest of public health, order, and safety, which means that personal liberty is not guaranteed. 9. Lastly, when vaccination rates drops or become stagnant, outbreaks become difficult or more costlier to handle, child mortality prevention diseases stay higher, and national and global eradication efforts are jeopardized. It is our contention that parents who prevent their children from vaccination should legally be punished, including the cases of imprisonment and penalties. Thank you.
All right, just exactly 3 minutes and a second there. Well done. That is the opening argument for this very first semi-final. It's time for us to get to hear the opposers of this argument and their opening statements.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
Welcome back, 91.3 Nigeria Info. I Beg to Differ Season 5. My name is Jude. We've heard the opening argument from the supporters of the motion. It's now time to move over to Silverbird International Schools, represented by Miss Emmanuella. Once again, Miss Emmanuella, you have 3 minutes on the clock. You can watch. I'm going to set it back to zeros. Take a breath if you need to. Pause if there is any need to. No penalties awarded. Once again, the clock, however, would not be stopped. Now, when the time has elapsed and you are still speaking, you will get to hear this sound. This notifies us and indeed the listener that the time has elapsed and you cannot make further points. The point you are making at the time will be allowed, but you will not be allowed to continue to speak. Is this clear, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, please come close to the microphone so that we can hear you better. Is this clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, 3 minutes on the clock. All the best. Your time starts now.
Good day, moderators, judges, distinguished audience, and my co-debaters. I am Emmanuella representing Silverbird International School, and I am here to oppose the motion that states vaccine refusal should attract punishment. A healthy nation is important, but a free nation is essential, because when the government controls what enters your body, the question is no longer about safety, but about control. 1. Punishment violates fundamental human rights. The World Health Organization makes it clear that medical treatment requires informed consent. Without consent, it becomes coercion. The former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan once said, human rights are universal and indivisible. If the state can punish you for what enters your body, then your body no longer belongs to you, it belongs to the state. 2. Punishment does not increase vaccination. In Italy, strict vaccine fines raise coverage of only 4%. If punishment truly worked, we would expect a massive urge, not a minimal number. Number may raise, but resistance grow louder. 3. Punishment addresses symptoms, not the problem. We can attest to the fact that vaccine refusal is due to fear, distrust, and mismanagement. In 2003 to 2004, several northern states in Nigeria boycotted the polio vaccine due to fear and misinformation. But did you know that those vaccines cause infertility? 4. Education beats coercion. Education beats coercion. Communities vaccinated willingly after education and outreach, not intimidation and breach. In Democratic Republic of Congo, vaccine response. The people responded to guidance, not fines. Nelson Mandela said, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to save the world." The education is not just limited to 4 walls. It is about creating awareness. 5. Punishment reduces access. In Nigeria, during the Lassa fever outbreak in 2022, strict punishment reduces access. 6. Coercion brings suspicion. False vaccine makes people ask, why push this too hard? In Guinea, heavy-handed Ebola campaigns caused 40% of communities to refuse participation. Lastly, ethical governance respects choice while protecting public health. It guides citizens. It does not use punishment to improve compliance. The National Health Service in UK used one-to-one engagement to not penalties. Nigeria can build trust the same way, through dialogue, not punishment. I leave you with this. Choice is stability. The truth is reality. And fear brings fragility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 2 minutes and 46 seconds there. We are done with the very first round this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Should vaccines be the cause of a problem? Well, apparently it is in some parts of the world where this debate has been had and is still being had. But we'll take a breather. When we come back, time for the rebuttal statements from both teams.
Attention all secondary schools! The wait is over! The I Beg to Differ Schools Debate Competition is here! Season 5 is live!
From February 16 to March 3, the brightest young minds will battle it out on the big stage. It's wit, it's logic, it's teamwork, where schools go head-to-head for glory.
Who will rise? Who will persuade? Who will lead the charge with ideas that matter?
Join us daily as schools debate the toughest questions, sharpen their voices, and showcase the power of teamwork and intellect.
Don't miss a single round. Tune in, cheer for your school, and witness the future leaders in action.
I Beg to Differ Season 5, where schools speak and ideas lead.
Welcome back, 92.3 Nigeria Info. This is I Beg to Differ Season 5. Now, we are in the second segment of this particular debate. This is the first semi-final for today, and we are going to the opposers of the motion, Silverbird International School. Good morning to you, miss.
Good morning, sir.
Now, once again, I need to run through the rules just in case. You have 3 minutes on the clock. During that time, you can take a pause. However, when the time is elapsed, you notification. This indicates that your time is up and you will not be permitted to make further points or further conversation. You can. And the last points that you've made just before the sound would be released is going to be valid. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, as always, when you are done with your closing argument, your opponent will take over. And as the supporting side, they will close us up with their closing remarks. Good luck and all the best. 3 minutes on the clock. Rebuttal segment begins. Your time starts now.
This debate is not just about medical procedure. It is about the one boundary the free society can't afford to cross. Good day, Mr. Moderator, dear judges, all protocols duly observed. My name is Sonia Chisom Charles Ugwoegbu, and I'm representing Silverbird International School. And I am here to strongly give my rebuttals and refute my opponent's point. My opponent laid claims on punish those who deplete the constitution. In most countries, 60 to 70% of health crises are caused usually by lifestyle challenges such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, smoking-related illnesses. If we punish people who burden the system, should we also fine the fast food eaters? Should we also find the fast food eaters? Should we also punish the mountain climbers who fall? If the state were to punish me for what is not in my body, should it also punish me for what is in my body? 2. My opponent laid claims on punishment should be used on parents who doesn't allow their children to take this vaccine, such as imprisonment or penalty. But need I tell you, science is settled through evidence, not through punishment. The 1947 Nuremberg Code widely suggests that the 1947 Nuremberg Code was boldly written to prevent the forceful use of medical procedures on people. Punishment is 100% false, which invalidates the medical ethics of over 80 years. If the state were to tax our body, then we are moving from a place of social contract to a state ownership contract. 3. My opponent laid claims on refusal to take these vaccines endangers people's health. Refusal to take these vaccines endangers people's health. Truly, vaccines are essential for human health in cases like pandemic or disease, but not everybody trusts these procedures. In Nigeria, where punishment ignites fear due to insecurity, studies of the reaction theory shows that for every one person being forced into compliance, it creates 3 more who radicalizes this system. In 10 years from now, we would probably forget about those who disagreed with us. In 10 years from now, we will forget about this vaccine, but we will not forget about those who disagreed with us. I would rather be on the voluntary grace than be on the mandatory debt. Inherent rights, consent end, liabilities limit, autonomy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Still have to put that sound out because you got to 3 minutes and a second. But fair is fair. Last point is taken. Ladies and gentlemen, we start off with the opposers now to get to the supporters of the motion and their rebuttals.
This is I Beg to Differ. The conversation continues in a moment.
All right, welcome back. 91.3 Nigeria Info. Venocrest are the opposers, are the supporters here, and they are about to give us their rebuttal statements. Once again, good morning to you, miss.
Good morning, sir.
All right, so 3 minutes on the clock as always. Take a pause or a breath if you need to. No penalties for that. However, the clock will not be stopped. Now, because you are the supporters of the motion, once you are done with your rebuttal statements, you will head us into the closing arguments. And so you may need to switch if need be, if you have planned to. If not, we're fine with whoever is on the seat. You will give us a closing argument. this clear, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you can see I am resetting the timer back to zeros, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes on the clock. Best of luck to you. Your time starts now.
My opponents presented fewer points, hinging the entire gamut of their arguments on popular misconceptions. I heard my opponent say violation of human rights, punishment does not increase vaccination, punishment addresses symptoms, and etc. etc. From my first point to your last, you failed to provide verifiable proofs, but instead expressed concerns that hover around the periphery of ignorance, false misconceptions on side effects, mistrust, distrust of health systems or government. But here are my rebuttals in no particular order. 1. On the issue of individuals having the right to make decisions about their own bodies, I put it to you, my learned opponent, that the Constitution actually allows a limitation of individual rights for public health. Under Section 45 of the Nigerian Constitution, certain fundamental rights may be limited on the interest of public health, public safety, and public order. Nigeria is bound by the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, which guarantees the right to health in Article 16. The Charter provides legal limitation of certain individual freedoms when necessary to protect community health. Mandatory vaccination programs directly fulfill this obligation. 2. It is incongruous of my opponent to justify the rejection of vaccines based on mere beliefs or indoctrination. However, punishments are legally justified when such beliefs pose a significant risk to others. While beliefs deserve respect, they cannot be used to endanger the vulnerable population, example, infants. Your third, fourth, and fifth points merely recycled health concerns, allergies, etc., like when you said punishing the mountain climbers or fast food eaters. However, punishment frameworks can include exemptions for valid medical reasons. The argument against punishment does not apply to those with legitimate health barriers. Plus, there is no scientific evidence that vaccines cause sterility. On your point of vaccines cause infertility, neither are vaccines a Western plot to harm the Africans. Vaccines used in Nigeria are approved by Nigerian health authorities and global bodies and are even used worldwide, including in high-income countries. Nigeria works with organizations like WHO and UNICEF to ensure quality standard and safety. To think that natural immunity is better than vaccines is like saying it is better to catch the disease and then struggle to build natural immunity. In actual fact, vaccines provide immunity without the risk of complications. Think about the 2 to 3 million children under 5 worldwide who die every single year from diseases that could be prevented by vaccines. Thank you.
2 minutes and 47 seconds there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the rebuttal statement from Venocrest. And as the supporters, we'll get to hear their closing arguments first. Stay tuned.
Attention all secondary schools! The wait is over! The I Beg to Differ Schools Debate Competition is here! Season 5 is live!
From February 16 to March 3, the brightest young minds will battle it out on the big stage. It's wit, it's logic, it's teamwork, where schools go head-to-head for glory.
Who will rise? Who will persuade? Who will lead the charge with ideas that matter?
Join us daily as schools debate the toughest questions, sharpen their voices, and showcase the power of teamwork and intellect.
Don't miss a single round. Tune in, cheer for your school, and witness the future leaders in action.
I Beg to Differ Season 5, where schools speak and ideas lead.
Cool Wazobia Info Kids FM presents another banger. Football Fans Fiesta. Arsenal versus Chelsea. The return leg banter.
And Chelsea have a 2-goal lead.
Happening on Sunday, March 1st by 5 p.m. live at New Trafford Lounge and Bar, Kilometer 4, East West Road by Jefta Comprehensive College, Umbwaba, Port Harcourt. Come and watch the world champions Chelsea try to dash Arsenal's hope of an EPL title triumph. Who will prevail at the Emirates? The Gunners or the Blues? It's pure fire. Catch every goal and gist on Sunday, 1st of March. Venue, New Trafford Traffic Lounge and Bar, Kilometer 4, East West Road, Ugwoegbu Port Harcourt. Football fans fiesta! The Return Leg Banter. Proudly supported by New Traffic Lounge and Bar. Hamrex Properties, your partner in real estate investment.
All right, welcome back. 9.3 Nigeria Info. Finally, the closing remarks are here. This is where a lot of people have, in the past week or two, salvaged their debate. And for those of you who are listening, don't forget you can listen also on our sister station, and where you get behind the scenes events. So Venocrest, with the closing remarks, once again, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
All right, 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Abdul was a bright-eyed boy in a dusty village in northern Nigeria who loved to race the wind across the savannah. His parents, who were wary of modern medicine and persuaded by rumors, refused a free vaccination at the local clinic. Few days later, a preventable disease swept through the region and it found Abdul unprotected. Days later, he started feeling feverish and weak. Despite the desperate prayers of his parents, Abdul died before the rains came. At his small funeral, whispers of grief turned into anger as neighbors realized that his death would have been prevented. Months after his passing, the village elders began to argue that love without responsibility can be deadly, so the law should protect the children when the parents, out of fear, take decisions that can cost innocent lives. Nigeria still has one of the world's highest number of unvaccinated children like Abdul, which fuels transmission of ongoing diseases which can be controlled or eliminated through vaccination. The government has a role and duty to protect the citizens from preventable diseases. If vaccine rejection should threaten the public safety and health, then the state and the government are legally empowered to take mandatory steps to safeguard lives. A single measles outbreak can cost $3 to $4 million. $3 to $4 million in public health response. The Global Polio Eradication Initiative reports that polio cases arises in areas where immunization reports fall below 80 to 85%. In the words of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, vaccines are global public good. No one is safe until everyone is safe. Punishment, when upheld justly and wisely, can act as a powerful deterrent to guard citizens before taking harmful actions when tragedy strikes. By upholding justice firmly, we can create a world where lives are preserved and innocents are saved. And as we say in Spanish, que el castigo salve vidas, meaning let the punishment save lives. Thank you.
2 minutes and 6 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Closing arguments done and dusted from Venocrest. It's time for Silverbird International to give us their closing arguments.
I beg to differ. Going back.
All right, final arguments, getting ready. They have just switched seats and we've pulled up. Please get close to the microphone so that your voice can be heard clearly. All right, so Silverbird International have their representative, their second speaker on the hot seat. We're taking the clock back to 0. 3 minutes. Your time, all the best, starts now.
Standing on the already existing protocol, I remain Emmanuella Jumble, proudly representing Silverbird International School, and I am here to give my closing argument. We all want a healthy nation, but at what cost? Should fear replace freedom? Should punishment replace trust? Refusal to take vaccine is not a crime. It is a personal choice. John Stuart Mill said, and I quote, over his body, over his own body and mind. The individual is sovereign. Sovereignty over one's body is not a crime but a right. Some cannot vaccinate due to allergies like severe egg allergy. Ladies and gentlemen, punishing people for vaccine refusal avoids the real problem: fear, distrust, and misinformation. In Nigeria, many parents refuse vaccine for their children, not out of defiance, but because they fear for their children's safety and distrust the system. Should we punish caution? Absolutely not. Punishment changes nothing, but clear explanation creates trust, convinces parents, and leads to higher vaccination. The evidence from the United Kingdom shows that respectful guidance increases